Hi, I'm Kevin Church, and today we have the MUFIC Songwriter of the Month for September, Joshua Jarman. Hi, Joshua. How you doing, buddy?
I'm well, brother. How are you?
Great. Good to have you on here.
For sure.
Absolutely. So, tell me, what got you into music? Did you come from a music family, like a musical family, anything like that?
No, there wasn't really anybody actively into music in my family. I grew up around music, of course, just as most people do. I mean, music's one of those things for humans, but my grandmother sang opera, and at a young age, I just knew that I wasn't any good at throwing a football. So, and I grew up in the country too far to get back and forth to practice if I were to do something like that extracurricular. And so music was something I could do at home in my own time and progress as I wanted to. And if it was something I decided I didn't want to do, then, let it go and maybe throw a football later or something. But yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds good. What about guitar? Was it your very first instrument, or what did you learn to play first?
Yeah, when I was probably 7 or so, my dad picked up a guitar and had it around the house. So it was an old nylon string guitar, nothing really fancy, but it was enough for me to learn on. It wasn't easy to play, so it was enough for it to be a challenge, something for me to really be mindful of, and each day try harder to get my fingers to wrap around the neck and do all of that. So yeah, I had that for 5 years or so before I was introduced to my own, this is the one I want kind of guitar. And I don't even know what happened to that guitar. I don't even know what happened to it.
Do you think it got pawned or something?
No, I don't think it was valuable enough to get pawned, but I like to just hope it went to someone else who's learning at a young age like I did, which would be cool. But for all I know, I've had
probably no idea.
I've had 50 guitars in my life, and I don't know where half of them went. So yeah, they just come and go,
I hear you.
Yeah,
well,
man.
Who was your biggest influence then growing up or in your musical journey?
Well, as far as mainstream artists go, popular artists, I really liked Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, and bands like that my father listened to growing up. But by the time I started really disciplining myself between 10 and 13 into learning to be a guitarist, my grandmother married a man who was a folk player. He played like country, old Johnny Cash style stuff, and I would go and watch him do his thing, and we'd go out to like Roundo to a bar or something, and a barn, and he would play in front of all these old people, and I really enjoyed his ability to make so many people smile. I loved that. I was like, this man's making everyone here happy, and nobody really cares what they got going on at home. I want to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I started emulating him, and shortly after that, he was no longer, we were no longer in communication with one another. Things happened in family, but
right.
He inspired me a lot more than he knows for the rest of my life, and now that's why I sort of, I reach out and try to make people smile and try to keep myself smiling the best I can too with music. So
that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
So tell me what got you into percussive guitar?
Not finding a drummer I got along with full time, I tell you. No, I wanted to challenge myself to do more. I was never a lead player. A lot of my friends and counterparts in the early 2000s were learning to play jazz riffs and metal riffs as fast as they could, like lightning, and they were really impressive technique, and I just never took the time to learn that way. So I challenged myself to approach the acoustic guitar, which I love very much, not having to have an amp or anything like that. Challenged myself to achieve a wider dynamic of sound by myself without having to, a lot of people were like, can you play this? And I'm like, I can't. And they were like, oh, well, you can only play, what, G, C, and D? That's cool. And I was like, you know what? I could play G, C, and D and do some other stuff. And
right.
I really was just able to show that those 3 simple chords everybody makes fun of that, have been on the radio for decades, really you can still continue to expand upon them. Like, the guitar does not have limitations, and as a self-taught person, it was easy for me to realize that. Like, nobody told me, you're not holding your back right, your thumb's not on the back of the guitar, you got to do this and do that, and nobody was ever there to do
right.
that for me. So I, scratched up my guitar a bit and started tapping all over it, and it's working out pretty well so far. At least I'm happy with it.
That's good. I've heard you do it, and it sounds great.
Thanks, man.
Keeps the rhythm really rolling.
That's the important part.
Keeps the groove in place.
Yeah,
it's really cool. You get to show that. When you're playing that, you get to express that, and people get to feel that.
It's a feel and a flow thing. It really is. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
So when writing a song, do you write the lyrics first, or do you know what you want to say, or does the music come first?
I like that question because the question always appears the same no matter who asks it, and it seems that every artist sort of has their own thing and their own way of doing that. And to be honest, I really have no plan. Anytime that I ever sit and write, I have I do my best to be resting in emptiness, resting in space if I can. And now, of course, I might be driven by, you know, my heart was broken because of a relationship, or, you know, my car broke down and my dog ran away, or whatever these things that happen in life. I might be inspired by those things and dealing with the emotions that came with those things, but I never sit down and go, you know, I'm going to write a song about needing a carburetor from a van. I've never sat down and said that that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
And the plus side of that is I get to learn from my songwriting. When I rest in emptiness and I write things as they occur to my mind, then I surprise myself. I find myself learning from something deep within myself, rather than like, I'm not trying to convince you of how I feel, and I'm not trying to convince myself or gaslight myself either, if I can help it. So I just write what comes out. Sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes I'm terrified to show anybody.
Right.
But every now and again I do get a song that is just, I know is for me and for others, and those are the ones that I keep. You know, I might play for 3 hours of just endless nonsense, and out of that 3 hours I might pull 10 to 15 minutes of good material that I
Right.
can refine and do something with later. So I guess I would start with guitar first and then write lyrics later, but it's not always that way. Sometimes I just start with a pen on paper and, you know, end up drawing a guitar. Who knows?
Well, at least you got something done, right?
That's true, man. That's true. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Inspiration has many colors.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, man.
So tell me, have you ever written a song, basically from what we've discussed already, have you ever written one of those songs that made you cry?
Yes, I most certainly have, and I have written songs that I didn't cry in writing, that I cried when I first tried to play for people, and that was not an excellent thing, but yes, I definitely have. And I think for a long time, as a young writer, I avoided those songs. I avoided the ones that would instigate that much emotion in me, because I thought maybe it'd make me weak, you know, in front of people or
Sure,
something.
I understand that completely.
And in the world of electronic music, I realize emotion is invaluable. It's the most valuable, priceless thing. Like, that's the thing that humans can apply to music that maybe machines can't yet do. So I learned that if I can shed a tear, people believe me. People then are willing to put themselves in my shoes and feel the music in a different way. So yeah, if I can help it, I try to encourage that degree of emotion in my music, if I can.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So what song will you be doing with us today, or will I be playing on with you?
Today I am going to be doing an original song called Away, a song that I wrote maybe 3 years ago. It sort of deals with getting out of your own way, letting your ego be free so that you can write as things appear, or do things in life as they appear to you, and not having to get hung up on yourself, I guess. But I'm going to ask you play some bass with me, if you would. And
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we
I'd
might
love to.
sneak some violin in there. It would be good, too.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
It's
for
going to
sure.
be great. Well, guys, this is Joshua Jarman. Thank you.
Thank you.
Keeping on the road, and those stones collect in a row, and my eyes are on my toes, though I know that is too low. On and on I rode, and down this river in my soul. And when this boat was on the shore, there you were, there you were, there you were. There you were. our goals. You wore out all the inner words when you feel where you are to go. And trouble are those roads we're on, and those settled are our goals. Settled are our goals. Settled are our goals. Oh, am I in the way? Blow this far away from me. Oh, I lie in the wake of the falling away. And I am falling away. So, oh, am I in the way? Blow this far away from me. Oh, I lie in the wake of the falling away.